I got a shiny face. I don't know why my face is so shiny. Probably because of the light. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Bean here, and today I'm coming at you with another one of my year-end videos, and this one is my top 10 books of 2020. Now, I believe I have 10, otherwise I have 9 and then 2 rereads. I think I have 9 and 3 rereads. 3 rereads, because I reread 3 books. Well, I reread a whole bunch of books this year, but 3 of them were my top rereads. So I'll get to those at the very end of this video. But for now, I'm just going to start right off, and I'm actually going to be going in chronological order. So there's a piece of hair in my eye. I'm actually going to be doing this in chronological order, so starting with books I read in January and moving on until books that I have read the most recently. So because of that, I will apologize in advance. My memory is terrible. Like, it just is. It always has been, it always will be. I have my own little notes about the books, but things like characters' names, honestly, I don't remember them, but I remember the gist of the story and why I found it interesting, why I picked it up. And then if I would read, obviously, all of these, I would read something else by that same author. So yes, we're just going to move on from that one. The first book that I'm going to talk about is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. Now, this is the very first book that I read in 2020. It is an adult magical realism story that follows a woman who becomes the nanny for two children of a senator or someone running for Senate or something of the sort. He's running for a high up government position, and he basically needs these kids to be out of the way. What they don't tell her in the ad is that these kids are very special, and by special, they spontaneously combust. So these kids will start on fire if they get too angry or too frustrated. And now the nanny doesn't know this at first until suddenly the little girl just randomly starts on fire and she panics, and the other household people are just like, yeah, this is normal. It's like, oh, all right then. And as she gets to know this family more and more, she learns the dynamics of this very powerful father and his kids that just are kind of left behind, and why it is that they keep misbehaving and why they're making life very difficult for their parents at points. And so this is a story completely about family and all about learning how to control your emotions and your thoughts and some coping mechanisms, even for any sort of trauma, as well as depression and anxiety. So this is such a heartfelt story. For me, it was the perfect way to start off 2020. And I highly recommend this book on my top 10 of the year. The next book that I have added to my top list is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. Now, this is not a new release. The last one was. This one has been out for a while, and without spoiling it, and I think it's going to become either a movie or a TV series very soon. But without spoiling it, basically this is the story of a haunted knockoff IKEA. Like, down to the fact that that's how the book is kind of written. It's written almost like a catalog at points, where you see some of the items that they have. And as the book goes on, it gradually gets creepier and creepier and creepier. And I think it was just super well done. It was unlike any thriller or horror book I had really ever read before, so I was digging this. I seriously got into this book, and I am very glad to have read it this year. This next book should come as no surprise to anyone, but House of Earth and Blood, the first book in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas, is of course up here on this list. I read this book in like one sitting, basically. In one sitting plus like 10 minutes, because I read for about 10-15 minutes at first and then had to go to bed because I fell asleep, and then binged the rest of it after that. If you don't know what this is about, This follows Bryce, who is a party girl with a full-time job who ends up finding her roommate dead and murdered, and when she goes out to find the murderer, she ends up teaming up with a fallen angel named Hunt in order to find the murderer of her best friend and roommate. So that's a very, 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 like, little snippet of what this is about. This was super well done, and I thought that the rep was amazing in this book, and I cannot wait for the next one to come out next year. Woohoo. I'm very excited. This was such a wonderful book, and I'm super excited for more of it. The next book that is on this list is another one that I own, and this one actually surprised me because this is one I got in a book box a while ago and then just never read because it's a little weird looking and it's not what I normally would have picked up, but that is Teeth in the Mist by Dawn Kurtag. This is a thriller, in case you can't tell by the cover, and I believe it's even... Was it? No, it wasn't. Ignore that part. Yeah, in case you can't tell, it's a thriller by the cover. Ooh, it's a very shiny cover. This book actually has 3 different point of views in it, and I think that is one of the things that, for me at least, really sets it apart. It's 3 different points of view from 3 different periods of time, and as much as that sounds very confusing, it really was well done, and I was able to keep the timeline straight, which is absolutely amazing. The first point of view is in modern day, and it follows a girl who has run away from home, basically, in order to go stay at this haunted house and figure out why her dad died there, what happened at this house, what it is that killed him. She is convinced that it is the house that killed her dad and not anyone or someone else, and that he didn't commit suicide. And she's just blown off all these ideas, and she just thinks that it's the house itself that killed him. So she is going there to find out, and her best friend ends up following her, and he is also affected by this house. The second point of view is from a woman in 1851 who is one of 3 wards living in this house. And all of these wards have different secrets that they're keeping from their guardian, who is the owner of the house. And then some very strange, kind of creepy things start happening, and people start acting weird, and it kind of spirals from there. The third and last point of view is the point of view written in letters by the wife of the man who built the house. And she, at the time of writing these letters, is pregnant, and she believes that she is pregnant with the devil. So it's super captivating, and this is the book that got me back into thrillers. Or even not back, but just got me into thrillers, period, and got me wanting to read more thrillers. And as it turns out, I might end up writing a thriller. So that's what this book did for me, and it's amazing. And even though some parts of it might not have been my favorite, I will always love this book because of that. And so this book really made a huge impact on me, which is very surprising for me, but I am very glad to have gotten it. So highly recommend this one as well. All right. This next book is one of my favorite quick reads of the year, and that was Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. I say that and I still haven't finished this series because I don't know. I have no reason as to why I haven't finished this series. I just haven't as of yet. So this basically is a manga. No, this is basically an anime written in novel format, which is amazing. I've talked about this book many, many, many times, and I believe even in my last video I talked about this book. But this follows our main character, Yumeko, who is a kitsune, meaning she is a fox demon, and she is living at this monastery protecting part of the dragon scroll when her monastery is attacked, and she ends up running away to get away from those who are attacking, and she ends up running into a samurai named Cage, Cage or Kage, and together the two of them are complete and polar opposites, but they have to work together in order to figure out where the rest of this scroll is, because whoever has the dragon scroll on the new year, once every 1,000 years, gets to make a wish, and of course this is the 1,000th year. So I loved this book. It was so much fun. It reads like an anime playing in my head, and I loved it, and now I just need to actually read it because, yeah, my bookish problems. The next book I'm going to talk about is one that I have actually just lent out to Callie, and that is Thorne by Intisar Kanani. And this is a Goose Girl retelling. Our main character's name is Alyra, and she is a noble who has been promised to a prince that she has never met, and on the carriage ride over to his palace, she ends up getting switched with her very ambitious handmaiden. Their minds get switched, so her mind is in her handmaiden's body, and her handmaiden's mind is in her body, and so they think that all of this kind of thing, it's basically a swapped identities kind of story, and she gets to know the real reason as to why things are going on and what is happening in the kingdom and who this prince actually is, even though she's never met him before. And it was just so well done. It was so beautiful, and there is a sequel coming out next year, and I want it now. I really do. And I'm very excited because I just got approved for a prequel novella, I believe, on NetGalley, so I'm gonna read that soon because this book is like my favorite thing. So this is, not only is it a gorgeous cover, but it is an amazing book. So book number 7 on my list is a graphic novel, and that is Here There Be Gerblins, The Adventure Zone Volume 1 by Clint Griffin, Justin and Travis McElroy, and Carrie Pites. Now, this is a graphic novel version of the Adventure Zone podcast, which I have been obsessed with for quite some time now, in case you're new here. Hi, I love Adventure Zone. Hi, I enjoy D&D as well. So this is basically a D&D comic of sorts, of 3 brothers and their dad trying to figure out how to play D&D and getting into all sorts of trouble. And it is going to be, I think it's a 5 or 6 book series. I don't remember how many seasons there are in this podcast, but each season is now its own graphic novel, and I loved this one. This has been a comic relief for me in the trying times of this year, and I think y'all should go read it. I can't believe I keep saying y'all. That makes no sense. Why do I do that? I'm from the north, like Wisconsin north, like super north. What's wrong with me? The next book that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to hold myself back from talking about forever, is Girlservantthorne by Melissa Bashardust. And this book I got because Callie told me to read it, and I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. And I picked it up, and I did not put it down. This book is amazing. So this book follows a princess named Soraya, whose touch is poison. And this book got to me. Oh my gosh, guys. Like, even thinking back on it now, I'm just... Okay, calm down. So, her touch is poison, so whenever she touches someone, kind of in the King Midas sort of way, where she touches someone and instead of them turning to gold, they die. She literally sucks the life out of them. And this is basically her figuring out what has caused her curse and why she has this curse, and trying to break the curse. And oh my gosh, guys, it's just read it. Just go read it. I can't talk about it without like giving anything away because it's just this book had all the feelings, and it's not long. It is a short book, but it is so good. And now I will read anything she writes. Anything. It's so good. It's just so good. Okay, I'm done. The last book that I'm going to talk about here that was not a reread this year is actually a novella, I believe, because it's only about 128-ish, 130-ish pages or something. Maybe it's 150. I don't remember, but I read an ebook version of this, and that is The Haunting of Bellatrix Green, and that is by Rachel Hawkins, Ash Parsons, and Vicky Alvear Schechter. So, this is an interesting looking cover, I know. This one is actually... How do I explain this? Okay, so basically we meet Bellatrix Green, who is a spiritual medium who is a fraud. And she, like, you know that right off the bat. She says she's a fraud. She swindles people out of money because she doesn't believe in ghosts. She doesn't believe that spirits are real. And then she gets invited to a house. And now this house is known as one of the most haunted houses in the world. And she gets invited there by the owner, who happens to, of course, be this super attractive dude. But she gets invited there to exorcise the spirits so that hopefully the homeowners can live in peace. But she goes thinking, oh, I'll just have to fake my way through and he's going to pay me a bunch of money no matter if I find this ghost or if I don't. And then shit gets weird, guys. Shit gets really weird. And that is all I'm going to say about that, because it was super well done. I love the concept of a false medium, kind of, or a false spiritualist medium having her mind changed around and just going in and being like, dude, I'm just doing this for the money. And I don't know why, but that whole idea really appealed to me. So I read it, and there's supposed to be a second one, and I'd really like to read that too. So if you could get that out, that'd be great. Cool. Good talk. The last 3 books that I'm going to talk about are all rereads that I loved before and I loved again. The first one being Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. The second one being Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. And the third one being And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This has become a yearly reread for me. Just go read it, guys. All right. And that is the end of my video here. So I really hope you enjoyed. If you have any other suggestions of books you think I will enjoy based off of these favorites, do let me know. I would love to hear them. And if you enjoyed this video, now is the perfect time to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And if you want to be notified, hit that little bell icon down below. Wow, words are hard today. And we would love to talk to you guys in the comments. Otherwise, all of our social medias and ways to get in touch with us are all listed in the description. And yeah, that's what we have for you guys here today. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep reading. Bye!